Have you ever felt like an outsider, wondering if you would ever find where you truly belong? Or maybe you've faced tough times, uncertain if things would ever improve? If this feels familiar, you're not alone. The story ahead might be exactly the encouragement you need today. Let's explore the story of Ruth, one of the most remarkable and inspiring women in the Bible. Ruth's journey feels like a blockbuster story, filled with drama, passion, and redemption. It's got it all: tragedy, love, bravery, and a mind-blowing ending. Imagine this in your mind. During this period, Israel is experiencing incredibly challenging times. Food is scarce, people are struggling, and it seems the nation has forgotten God. Amid this turmoil, we meet Ruth, a Moabite woman about to embark on a life-changing journey. At this point, you might wonder, why care about a story of a woman who lived thousands of years ago? Ruth's story shows how God can transform life's hardest situations into something beautiful. This is a story of rags to riches, outsider to insider, and hopelessness to a legacy that shaped history. Ready to hear how a foreign widow became one of the Bible's most significant women? Do you want to learn the powerful lessons her story teaches about faith, love, and perseverance? Stay with me as we dive into Ruth's unforgettable story, full of twists, turns, and truths. Get ready to see how God's plans unfold, how one person's faith can change history, and how love conquers obstacles. This is not just an old, irrelevant story. It's a story that can challenge, inspire, and even transform how you view your life. Let's dive into this story to discover why Ruth's journey has captivated generations and still matters today. This amazing story begins in Moab, a land with a complex history of conflict and connection with Israel. Descendants of Lot, the Moabites, often opposed Israel, their relationship a mix of hostility and rare cooperation. In this foreign land, we meet Ruth, likely raised in the polytheistic traditions central to Moabite culture. While the Bible gives little about Ruth's early life, it's clear she was rooted in a culture very different from Israel's monotheistic faith. Imagine Ruth, curious about Israelite beliefs, but still deeply tied to her Moabite heritage. Enter Elimelech, a man from Bethlehem, who flees a famine in Judah by moving to Moab with his wife Naomi and their sons, Mahlon and Chilion. This desperate decision meant leaving the promised land for survival during a severe famine. Over time, Mahlon marries Ruth and Chilion marries Orpah, forming unusual and controversial bonds. The Bible gives no details of Ruth and Mahlon's courtship, but such a union likely faced cultural challenges. Israelite-Moabite marriages were rare and often viewed with suspicion, making theirs extraordinary. During her marriage, Ruth likely became familiar with Israelite faith and practices. Ruth's later devotion to Israel's God suggests Mahlon had a significant impact on her faith. Unfortunately, their happiness was short-lived. In a tragic turn, Elimelech dies, leaving Naomi a grieving widow in a foreign land. Adding to the sorrow, Mahlon and Chilion also die, leaving Naomi, Ruth, and Orpah as widows facing uncertain futures. In ancient times, widows had few rights, and being one in a foreign land was even more precarious. Ruth's world was turned upside down, and the choices she made next would shape her destiny and history itself. The scene is filled with sorrow, with an uncertain future ahead. Naomi, Ruth, and Orpah, united by loss, face a pivotal moment with unclear paths and precarious futures. Their husbands' deaths left them vulnerable in a society where women depended on male protection. Grieving and perhaps guilty for leaving her homeland, Naomi decides to return to Bethlehem. Naomi hears that the Lord has ended the famine, providing for his people once again. With nothing left in Moab, Naomi prepares for the challenging journey back to Judah. Selflessly, Naomi urges her daughters-in-law to return to their families and find security in Moab. She offers them a heartfelt blessing, saying, "May the Lord deal kindly with you as you have dealt with the dead and with me." Ruth. Naomi's kind words show the deep bond of love and respect between them, transcending cultural barriers. What follows is one of Scripture's most moving and unforgettable moments. After tearful goodbyes, Orpah heeds Naomi's advice, kisses her farewell, and returns home. Ruth refuses to leave Naomi, clinging to her with steadfast determination despite Naomi's repeated pleas. Ruth then utters words that have echoed through the ages. Do not urge me to leave you or to return from following you. For where you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there will I be buried. May the Lord do so to me, and more also, if anything but death parts me from you. Ruth chapter 1, verses 16 to 17. These words are more than a statement of loyalty. They signify something much deeper. They are a testament to Ruth's profound faith and full commitment to Naomi and their shared journey. Ruth's choice goes beyond staying. She pledges to follow Naomi's God, join her people, and embrace a new life, adopt the Israelite people as her family, and fully commit to a way of life entirely different from her own. Ruth's bold choice means leaving behind her homeland, family, and gods to follow Naomi into the unknown. Ruth's decision is a remarkable act of love, courage, and selflessness beyond personal comfort. As a Moabite in Israel, Ruth would likely face prejudice, isolation, and many challenges. Yet her deep love for Naomi and faith in Israel's God drive her forward with hope. This moment reveals Ruth's unwavering loyalty, bravery, and her willingness to sacrifice for love and faith. Ruth's declaration foreshadows the deep, unwavering devotion God desires from his people, enduring and self-sacrificial. Ruth's words echo the covenantal faithfulness God shows to Israel and calls his people to mirror. Ruth's loyalty to Naomi symbolizes the faithfulness God desires from his followers, unwavering and rooted in love and trust. As Ruth and Naomi journey to Bethlehem, they bear grief and uncertainty, but also carry a glimmer of hope. Their hope is rooted in faith in God's provision and the bond of love they share. They cannot yet know this journey begins a magnificent story of redemption, restoration, and God's providence. The road from Moab to Bethlehem is not just a long physical journey, but one of cultural and spiritual divides. Spanning about 50 miles, this journey likely took several days on foot through rugged terrain and across the Jordan River. Imagine these two women, united by sorrow and love, slowly crossing the difficult terrain. Naomi, grief-stricken and older, might have leaned on Ruth for support, while Ruth stepped into an unfamiliar, uncertain world. Ruth's commitment to Naomi and her faith in Israel's God gave her strength and courage. Along the way, they likely shared heartfelt conversations about their hopes, fears, and faith. Naomi may have described Bethlehem, stories of God's faithfulness, and Israelite customs Ruth needed to learn. Filled with curiosity, Ruth likely asked questions to better understand the faith and culture she had chosen. For Ruth, this journey was a spiritual pilgrimage, a step of faith toward a new life guided by trust in God. While the Bible doesn't detail their journey, we can imagine the many challenges they likely faced. Traveling alone, they would have been vulnerable to dangers like wild animals, thieves, and harsh road conditions. They likely relied on the kindness of strangers for food, water, and shelter. Each step was a testament to their faith, courage, and determination to keep moving forward. Nearing Bethlehem, the dry lands of Moab gave way to Judah's lush, fertile hills. The scenery around them would have shifted, with the dry, barren landscapes of Moab gradually giving way to the lush and fertile hills of Judah. For Naomi, going back to Bethlehem was bittersweet, a homecoming mixed with loss and faint hope. For Ruth, arriving in Bethlehem meant stepping into a completely unfamiliar world, a place filled with uncertainties and unknown challenges, but also brimming with new opportunities and hope. Naomi and Ruth's arrival in Bethlehem causes quite a stir among the townspeople. As Scripture says, the whole town was stirred because of them, and the women exclaimed, "Can this be Naomi?" Ruth 1:19. Naomi's response reveals much about her emotional state and the depth of her grief. Ruth chapter 1, verse 19. She replies with a poignant and revealing statement. "Don't call me Naomi," she told them. "Call me Mara, because the Almighty has made my life very bitter." Ruth chapter 1, verse 20. These words reveal Naomi's profound sorrow, loss, and the bitterness that has consumed her heart after so much tragedy. Naomi left Bethlehem full with her husband and sons, but returns empty, save for Ruth's loyal companionship. Despite her grief, Naomi acknowledges God's sovereignty by calling him the Almighty. For Ruth, entering Bethlehem for the first time must have been overwhelming. Beside Naomi, Ruth is a foreigner in a strange land, likely unsure how the community will receive her. Still, Ruth stays resolute, ready to face whatever challenges come with determination. Their arrival coincides with the barley harvest, a small detail that will later play a key role in their story. This detail is a quiet but powerful sign of God's providential care in perfectly arranging events. Their return comes during the harvest, increasing the chance of work and food, bringing a glimmer of hope. As Ruth and Naomi settle in Bethlehem, they face an uncertain and challenging future. How will these widows survive in a society that leaves them so vulnerable? How will Ruth, a Moabite foreigner, be treated by the people of Bethlehem, who might view her with suspicion? Most importantly, how will God work through their lives to fulfill his greater plan? With this groundwork, the stage is set for the next chapter of Ruth's inspiring journey of faith and redemption. Ruth doesn't realize her faith and courage will soon open doors and blessings beyond what she could imagine. In the barley fields of Bethlehem, Ruth takes initiative to support herself and Naomi, showing resourcefulness and determination. The law of Moses allowed the poor, widows, and foreigners to gather leftover grain after harvesters finished their work. With humility and determination, Ruth decides to glean in the fields to provide for herself and Naomi. Ruth said to Naomi, "Let me go to the fields and pick up the leftover grain behind anyone in whose eyes I find favor." Ruth 2. Ruth's words reveal her hardworking spirit, humility in seeking favor, and courage to face rejection to survive. By divine providence, Ruth gleans in Boaz's field, a wealthy, influential man of noble character from Naomi's late husband's clan. Boaz returns to his fields from Bethlehem and greets his workers with a warm blessing. "The Lord be with you," their response. "The Lord bless you," providing us with a clear picture of Boaz's upright character and the respectful, godly atmosphere he fosters among his laborers. In this peaceful, respectful setting, Boaz notices Ruth for the first time. Curious, Boaz inquires about her, and the foreman gives a glowing report. She is the Moabite who came back from Moab with Naomi. She said, "Please let me glean and gather among the sheaves behind the harvesters." She came into the field and has remained here from morning till now, except for a short rest in the shelter. Ruth chapter 2, verses 6 to 7. Moved by her story and diligence, Boaz approaches Ruth, offering unexpected kindness. Boaz speaks kindly, urging Ruth to stay in his fields for safety, promising protection and inviting her to drink freely from his workers' water jars. Overwhelmed, Ruth falls to her knees and asks, "Why have I found such favor in your eyes that you notice me, a foreigner?" Ruth chapter 2, verse 10. Boaz's response is telling. "I've been told all about what you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband. May the Lord repay you for what you have done. May you be richly rewarded by the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge." Ruth chapter 2, verses 11 to 14. This exchange shows Boaz's faith, kindness, and recognition of Ruth's loyalty to Naomi and trust in God. Boaz overlooks Ruth's Moabite heritage and honors her for her actions and courageous devotion to God. Throughout the day, Boaz continues showing Ruth kindness and generosity. Boaz invites Ruth to eat with his workers, serves her grain himself, and instructs his men to leave extra grain for her. By the end of the day, Ruth gleans an ephah of barley, a large amount usually taking days to gather. Ruth eagerly tells Naomi about her day, and Naomi immediately recognizes God's hand in their circumstances. Naomi tells Ruth that Boaz is not just kind, but a close relative and their kinsman redeemer, capable of restoring their family. This news sets the stage for the next chapter and fills Naomi with hope for Ruth's future. This meeting in the fields is no coincidence. It shows God's providential hand at work in Ruth's life. It testifies to God's unseen work, weaving Ruth and Boaz's lives together in his perfect plan. This moment also highlights God's provision through the law of gleaning, which cares for widows, the poor, and foreigners. As the day ends, Ruth and Naomi feel a renewed sense of hope for the future. Little do they know, this day is just the beginning of a much greater divine plan. This plan will secure Ruth and Naomi's future while linking them to the lineage of King David and ultimately Jesus Christ. Knowing Boaz is a close relative and kinsman redeemer, Naomi starts forming a hopeful plan. Naomi sees a chance not just for survival, but for Ruth's security and a fresh start. Here, Naomi shows her love for Ruth and her understanding of Israel's customs and laws. Naomi tells Ruth, "My daughter, I must find a home for you where you will be well provided for." Ruth chapter 3, verse 1. These words reflect Naomi's deep desire to secure Ruth's well-being and future. Naomi selflessly prioritizes Ruth's future over her own. This selflessness mirrors the loyalty and love Ruth has shown Naomi. Naomi's plan may seem bold today, but it fits perfectly with ancient Israelite customs. She instructs Ruth, "Wash, put on perfume, and get dressed in your best clothes. Then go down to the threshing floor, but don't let him know you are there until he has finished eating and drinking. When he lies down, note the place where he is lying. Then go and uncover his feet and lie down. He will tell you what to do." Ruth chapter 3, verses 3 to 4. This plan is not without significant risks, as Ruth's actions could easily be misunderstood or even bring shame if misinterpreted. As a foreigner, Ruth was vulnerable, risking ridicule, misunderstanding, or exploitation. However, the plan aligns with levirate marriage customs and the kinsman redeemer laws. Naomi is guiding Ruth to present herself for marriage to Boaz, honoring his role as kinsman redeemer. To appreciate this moment, it's important to understand the kinsman redeemer's role in Israelite culture. In Israel, a kinsman redeemer was a close relative tasked with redeeming land and ensuring a deceased relative's family line continued, often through marriage. This practice ensured a family's lineage continued and inheritance was preserved in Israel. Ruth responds to Naomi's bold plan with simple yet profound trust. "I will do whatever you say." Ruth chapter 3, verse 5. Ruth's words echo her earlier loyalty and show her deep trust in Naomi's wisdom. This moment is a turning point in Ruth's story, paving the way for life-changing events. Ruth moves from being a field gleaner, relying on charity, to actively shaping her future. She acts in faith, seeking a path that secures both her future and Naomi's legacy. This bold act shows Ruth's trust in God and her willingness to embrace her new people's customs. Preparing to follow Naomi's plan, Ruth likely felt nervous but resolute. She was about to approach Boaz, a wealthy man of influence, putting herself in a vulnerable position. Despite the risks, Ruth's courage and trust in Naomi propel her forward with hope. Naomi's plan sets the stage for a midnight meeting that will change Ruth's life and impact future generations. Though born of desperation, the plan is rooted in hope and faith in God's provision through His laws. As night falls and Ruth approaches the threshing floor, the air is filled with anticipation and uncertainty. Will Boaz understand Ruth's actions and respond with favor? Will Ruth gain the protection and belonging she seeks in this new land? Above all, how will God use these events to unfold His redemptive plan beyond Ruth and Naomi's needs? The stage is set for a dramatic encounter, testing Ruth's bravery, Boaz's integrity, and God's providence. The cool night air surrounds Ruth as she nears the threshing floor, her heart racing with nervous determination. The threshing floor buzzes with celebration, marking the harvest's end. With the harvest done, Boaz and his workers enjoy a feast celebrating their hard work. Following Naomi's advice, Ruth waits patiently in the shadows for the right moment. As the festivities end, Boaz, content and in good spirits, lies down at the far end of the grain pile. Seeing her chance, Ruth steps forward with quiet determination. Ruth carefully uncovers Boaz's feet and lies down at his resting place, following Naomi's instructions. While bold by modern standards, Ruth's act was a culturally fitting way to seek marriage and redemption from a kinsman redeemer. In the quiet night, Boaz awakens, startled by someone nearby. Imagine Boaz's surprise to find a woman lying at his feet in the dark. "Who are you?" he asks. Ruth answers with a response that is both courageous and full of humility. "I am your servant, Ruth," she says. "Spread the corner of your garment over me, since you are a guardian redeemer of our family." Ruth chapter 3, verse 9. This simple yet profound request is rich with cultural meaning, symbolizing Ruth's plea for protection, provision, and the fulfillment of Boaz's role as kinsman redeemer. By asking Boaz to spread his garment, Ruth boldly appeals for him to take her as his wife and fulfill his duty as redeemer. Ruth's words respectfully ask Boaz to become her redeemer, while showing her willingness to enter a covenant of marriage. Boaz's reply shows his noble character and deep respect for Ruth and her actions. "The Lord bless you, my daughter," he replied. "This kindness is greater than that which you showed earlier. You have not run after the younger men, whether rich or poor. And now, my daughter, don't be afraid. I will do for you all you ask. All the people of my town know that you are a woman of noble character." Ruth chapter 3 verses 10 to 11. Boaz understands Ruth's proposal as a remarkable act of loyalty and kindness toward Naomi's family. Boaz is touched by Ruth's choice, knowing she could have sought marriage with a younger man. Boaz notes Ruth's reputation in Bethlehem as a widely admired woman of noble character. She is regarded not only as a foreigner, but also as a woman of high morals. There's a problem, though. Boaz, in his unwavering integrity, explains that there is another man who is a closer relative and therefore has the first right to redeem Ruth and Naomi's land. He reassures Ruth, promising to resolve the issue in the morning and handle it lawfully and honorably. Before Ruth leaves, Boaz sends her with 6 measures of barley, a symbolic gesture of his good intentions. The gesture symbolizes Boaz's commitment and provides sustenance for Ruth and Naomi. At dawn, Ruth hurries home, likely feeling hopeful, uncertain about the future, and perhaps growing fondness for Boaz. When Ruth shares the events of the night with Naomi, her mother-in-law responds with words of wisdom and assurance. "Wait, my daughter, until you find out what happens, for the man will not rest until the matter is settled today." Ruth 3:18. "Wait, my daughter, until you find out what happens, for the man will not rest until the matter is settled today." Ruth chapter 3 verse 18. This encounter on the threshing floor marks a critical turning point in the story of Ruth, signaling the beginning of events that will alter her life forever. Ruth's courageous actions, undertaken with Naomi's careful guidance, initiate a sequence of events that will not only secure their survival, but also bring about lasting restoration. This moment serves as a profound illustration of how human initiative, when paired with divine providence, can lead to extraordinary outcomes that surpass human expectations. The events of that night also provide a glimpse into the exceptional character of both Ruth and Boaz, showcasing their integrity and faith. Ruth displays remarkable bravery, profound humility, and unwavering trust in the customs and divine guidance of the God of Israel. Boaz reveals himself as a man of outstanding character, honest, compassionate, and deeply respectful of both the law and Ruth's personal dignity. As the quiet of dawn approaches, this pivotal midnight meeting sets the stage for the ultimate resolution of Ruth's journey, bringing her one step closer to redemption and restoration. Will Boaz, who has shown such kindness and respect, have the opportunity to fully redeem Ruth and Naomi's family name? What will be the response of the closer kinsman redeemer, who by law has the first claim to this responsibility? And most importantly, how will God's sovereign plan unfold and be accomplished through the choices of these individuals? With the first light of morning breaking over Bethlehem, Boaz resolutely heads to the town gate, the hub of legal and civic activity where important decisions were made and witnessed by the community. Staying true to his promise, Boaz is determined to resolve the issue of Ruth's redemption with urgency, ensuring everything is handled promptly and properly. Boaz arrives at the gate, takes a seat among the elders, and patiently waits for the closer relative he had spoken about to Ruth the previous night. As soon as the closer kinsman appears, Boaz calls him over and also gathers 10 elders of the town to serve as official witnesses to the proceedings. This moment at the town gate provides a fascinating window into the legal customs of ancient Israel, where public accountability and communal participation played an essential role in resolving personal and family matters. Boaz initiates the discussion by bringing up the matter of the land that belonged to Naomi's late husband, Elimelech, which Naomi is now seeking to sell. Naomi, who has come back from Moab, is selling the piece of land that belonged to our relative Elimelech. "I thought I should bring the matter to your attention and suggest that you buy it in the presence of these seated here and in the presence of the elders of my people. If you will redeem it, do so. But if you will not tell me so, I will know, for no one has the right to do it except you, and I am next in line. Ruth chapter 4, verses 3-4. At first, the closer relative readily agrees to purchase the land, apparently unaware of the additional responsibilities that this redemption will entail. At this point, Boaz reveals a crucial detail that changes everything. On the day you buy the land from Naomi, you also acquire Ruth the Moabite, the dead man's widow, in order to maintain the name of the dead with his property. Ruth chapter 4, verse 5. This added stipulation dramatically shifts the nature of the transaction, forcing the closer relative to reconsider. Realizing that redeeming the land and Ruth might complicate his own estate and inheritance, the closer relative decides to relinquish his claim. Following the custom of the time, the man ceremonially removes his sandal and hands it to Boaz, officially transferring his right of redemption and withdrawing from the agreement. With the path now clear, Boaz acts with both joy and determination, stepping into the role of redeemer with a full heart. Standing before the gathered elders and witnesses, Boaz makes a bold and public declaration. Today you are witnesses that I have bought from Naomi all the property of Elimelech, Kilion, and Mahlon. I have also acquired Ruth the Moabite, Mahlon's widow, as my wife in order to maintain the name of the dead with his property, so that his name will not disappear from among his family or from his hometown. Today you are witnesses. Ruth chapter 4, verses 9-10. This pivotal moment marks the culmination of Ruth's journey, a journey defined by her steadfast faith, unwavering loyalty, and God's providence. Boaz's act of redemption is far more than a mere fulfillment of a legal duty. It is a profound demonstration of love, honor, and respect for Ruth and her family. By redeeming Ruth, Boaz fully embraces her as his wife, welcomes her into the fold of Israel, and takes on the responsibility of continuing the legacy of Elimelech's family. The gathered people and elders respond with joy and enthusiasm, offering heartfelt blessings over Boaz and Ruth's union. May the Lord make the woman who is coming into your home like Rachel and Leah, who together built up the family of Israel. May you have standing in Ephrathah and be famous in Bethlehem through the offspring the Lord gives you by this young woman. May your family be like that of Perez, whom Tamar bore to Judah. Ruth chapter 4, verses 11-12. This blessing carries profound significance, drawing a connection between Ruth and the revered matriarchs of Israel, while also hinting at the monumental lineage that will emerge from her union with Boaz. Boaz and Ruth marry in a joyful ceremony, and before long, they are blessed by the Lord with the birth of a son. The women of Bethlehem gather to celebrate, offering words of praise and encouragement to Naomi. Praise be to the Lord, who today has provided you with a guardian redeemer. May he become famous throughout Israel. He will renew your life and sustain you in your old age. For your daughter-in-law who loves you and who is better to you than 7 sons has given him birth. Ruth chapter 4, verses 14-15. The child is named Obed, and the book closes with the revelation of his pivotal role in the grand narrative of Israel's history. He was the father of Jesse, the father of David. Ruth chapter 4, verse 17. This redemption narrative, which begins in sorrow and loss but concludes in overwhelming joy, is a vivid testament to God's providential care and redemptive power. Through Ruth's unwavering faithfulness and Boaz's remarkable integrity, God orchestrates not only the restoration of a single family, but also the unfolding of his greater plan for the lineage of King David, and ultimately, the coming of the Messiah, Jesus Christ. Ruth's story crescendos with her union to Boaz, a powerful testimony of God's unwavering providence and his faithfulness to those who trust him. Once Boaz fulfilled his duty as kinsman redeemer, he officially took Ruth as his wife, solidifying their covenant in a public ceremony before the elders and the people of Bethlehem. Their marriage represented far more than a personal love story. It stood as a profound symbol of God's redemptive purposes and his ability to transform loss into joy. Their wedding day was undoubtedly a time of immense celebration, brimming with hope for the future and gratitude for God's blessings. The townspeople of Bethlehem, having witnessed Ruth's unwavering loyalty and Boaz's exceptional character, came together to offer their blessings, as recorded in Ruth chapter 4, verses 11 to 12. Then all the people who were at the gate and the elders said, "We are witnesses. May the Lord make the woman who is coming into your house like Rachel and Leah, who together built up the house of Israel. May you act worthily in the Fraser and be renowned in Bethlehem." By invoking the memory of Rachel and Leah, the blessing symbolically welcomed Ruth into the lineage of God's chosen people, linking her to the great matriarchs of Israel. Though she came from Moab, Ruth was fully accepted as a daughter of Israel, a powerful demonstration of God's inclusive love and the transformative power of faith to overcome cultural divisions. The union of Ruth and Boaz beautifully foreshadows the relationship between Christ and his church, embodying themes of redemption, covenantal love, and faithfulness. In the same way that Boaz stepped forward to redeem Ruth, Christ has redeemed us, offering himself as our ultimate Savior and Redeemer. This union serves as a profound reminder of the deeply intimate and covenantal bond we share with God, calling us to reflect on his boundless love and how we are to faithfully respond in return. Not long after their marriage, Ruth and Boaz were blessed with the birth of a son, Obed, a child whose significance would extend far beyond their family. This joyful milestone marked a dramatic transformation in Ruth's life, elevating her from a grieving, childless widow to a mother whose son would secure her place in the lineage of Israel's greatest kings. The importance of Obed's birth cannot be overstated, as it is celebrated in Ruth chapter 4, verses 14 to 15, with words of gratitude and praise. Then the women said to Naomi, "Blessed be the Lord who has not left you this day without a redeemer, and may his name be renowned in Israel. He shall be to you a restorer of life and a nourisher of your old age. For your daughter-in-law who loves you, who is more to you than 7 sons, has given birth to him." This child, Obed, was recognized not only as a blessing for Ruth and Boaz, but also as a remarkable gift to Naomi, restoring her hope and joy. For Naomi, Obed brought renewed hope and abundant joy, replacing the bitterness and emptiness she felt upon her return to Bethlehem. Thanks to Ruth's unwavering loyalty and God's providential care, Naomi's life was transformed, her emptiness filled, and her sorrow replaced with sweetness and gratitude. Yet the significance of Obed's birth extended far beyond the immediate joy of Ruth, Boaz, and Naomi. Without realizing it, Ruth's son, Obed, would grow to become the grandfather of King David, establishing a direct lineage to Jesus Christ, the Messiah. In Matthew's genealogy of Jesus, Ruth's name is listed among the likes of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. A Moabite woman granted a position of honor in the lineage of the Messiah, a testament to God's inclusive grace. Ruth's impact reaches far beyond the scope of her own life, shaping the course of biblical history and God's redemptive plan. Her journey of faith, steadfast loyalty, and ultimate redemption serves as a compelling testimony to God's faithfulness and his power to work through the lives of the most unlikely individuals to fulfill his sovereign purposes. Ruth's story vividly illustrates how God can transform our brokenness into something beautiful, skillfully weaving it into his grand and eternal narrative of redemption. Additionally, Ruth's place in the lineage of Jesus Christ stands as a powerful declaration of God's love for all nations and his desire to include people from every background in his redemptive plan. As the Apostle Paul would later echo this truth in Galatians chapter 3, verse 28, "There is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither slave nor free, there is no male and female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus." Ruth's story serves as a beautiful foreshadowing of this profound truth, demonstrating that God's plan of salvation is open to anyone who places their faith in him, regardless of ethnicity or cultural heritage. Even though Ruth's story is rooted in ancient times, its wisdom and lessons are timeless, continuing to speak directly to the challenges and triumphs of our modern lives. Reflecting on Ruth's journey reveals a treasure trove of spiritual truths and lessons that can inspire and guide us in our personal faith journeys. One of the most significant lessons from Ruth's story is her unwavering loyalty, which demonstrates the transformative power of steadfast and committed relationships. Her famous declaration to Naomi, "Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people and your God." My God, as recorded in Ruth 116, serve as a profound challenge to examine the depth of our own commitments to God and others. In a society where loyalty can often feel fleeting or conditional, Ruth's unwavering faithfulness reminds us of the immense beauty and strength found in relationships built on faith, love, and commitment to both God and others. Another key takeaway from Ruth's story is her example of diligence and initiative, showing the virtue of hard work even in the face of overwhelming poverty and uncertainty. Upon arriving in Bethlehem, Ruth did not sit idly by, waiting for someone to provide for her and Naomi. Instead, she actively sought opportunity, venturing into the fields to glean for their survival. Ruth's diligence did not go unnoticed. Boaz praised her actions, saying, "All that you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband has been fully told to me, and how you left your father and mother and your native land and came to a people that you did not know before." Ruth chapter 2, verse 11. This underscores the principle that faith and action work together, echoing the words of James 2:17. So also faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. Furthermore, Ruth's life showcases the incredible transformative power of genuine faith in God. Through her choice to follow the God of Israel, Ruth's life was completely redirected, leading her from obscurity to significance in God's grand plan. Ruth's journey took her from being a grieving widow in an unfamiliar land to becoming the honored ancestor of both King David and, ultimately, Jesus Christ. Her extraordinary transformation serves as a reminder that when we place our trust in God and align our lives with His purposes, He can work through us in ways that far exceed anything we could imagine. Ruth's narrative also sheds light on the profound beauty of redemption, as seen through the actions of Boaz. Boaz's role as the kinsman redeemer provides a powerful metaphor for how God redeems our lives, taking our emptiness and filling it with hope, purpose, and a future. Boaz's actions foreshadow the ultimate redemption offered by Christ, as described in Ephesians chapter 1, verse 7. In Him we have redemption through His blood, the forgiveness of our trespasses, according to the riches of His grace. Finally, Ruth's inclusion in the genealogy of Christ highlights God's inclusive love and His redemptive plan for people from all nations and backgrounds. Her story directly confronts and dismantles ideas of ethnic or cultural exclusivity, affirming that God's salvation is freely available to all who trust in Him. It also prefigures the Great Commission, serving as a reminder of our responsibility to share the good news with all people, regardless of race, ethnicity, or cultural differences. As we wrap up this exploration of Ruth's extraordinary journey, it's essential to reflect on the lasting impact of her life and her unique role in biblical history. Though Ruth's story is relatively short, it holds a significant and central place within the overarching narrative of God's redemptive work in human history. Ruth emerges as a shining example of faith during the chaotic era of the Judges, a time repeatedly described by the refrain, "In those days Israel had no king, everyone did as they saw fit." Judges chapter 21, verse 25. Against the backdrop of widespread moral decay, Ruth's steadfast loyalty to God and Naomi shines as a beacon of hope, showing how the faithfulness of one person can ripple outward to create lasting and transformative effects. Ruth's role in the lineage of King David and, ultimately, Jesus Christ further solidifies her pivotal place in biblical history. When Matthew's Gospel begins with the genealogy of Jesus, Ruth's name is one of only a few women honored in the list, standing alongside Tamar, Rahab, and Mary. This inclusion in this genealogy is far from accidental. It is a profound testament to God's inclusive grace and His ability to work through those who are often overlooked or marginalized to accomplish His divine purposes. Ruth's narrative serves as a vital bridge, connecting the turbulent period of the Judges with the establishment of the monarchy in Israel. Ruth's great-grandson, David, would rise to become Israel's most celebrated king, a man known for his deep devotion to God and described as a man after God's own heart. As part of this lineage, Ruth serves as an unexpected yet indispensable link in the chain of God's covenant promises, spanning from Abraham to David and culminating in the arrival of Jesus Christ, the Messiah. The book of Ruth also offers a striking example of the kinsman redeemer, a role that Boaz fulfills with integrity and compassion. This role beautifully foreshadows the work of Christ, our ultimate redeemer, who, like Boaz, was under no obligation but willingly chose to redeem us out of his immense love. As Ephesians chapter 1 verse 7 declares, "In him we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sins, in accordance with the riches of God's grace." Ruth's journey serves as a moving testament to God's providential care and his sovereign control over even the smallest details of our lives. From Ruth's seemingly random decision to glean in Boaz's field to the birth of her son Obed, God's guiding hand is clearly seen, orchestrating every step to accomplish his divine purposes. Ruth's story reassures us that even in the midst of life's darkest moments, God is actively working behind the scenes, weaving the threads of our lives into the intricate fabric of his greater plan. Within the grand tapestry of biblical history, Ruth's story may initially appear minor, yet her thread connects some of the most significant themes in God's redemptive plan. Her life exemplifies the profound truth of 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 27. "But God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong." Reflecting on Ruth's place in God's narrative reminds us that our own lives, no matter how ordinary they may appear, can be used by God in extraordinary and transformative ways. Ruth's legacy inspires us to live with steadfast faith, to wholeheartedly embrace God's redemptive work in our lives, and to trust that our daily acts of faithfulness may have far-reaching effects beyond what we can comprehend. Ultimately, Ruth's story transcends being a simple narrative of personal triumph. It stands as a powerful testament to God's unwavering faithfulness, his redemptive love, and the surprising and creative ways he accomplishes his divine purposes throughout human history. May the example of Ruth's life encourage us to place deeper trust in God, to love with greater faithfulness, and to live expectantly, knowing that our own stories are part of God's ongoing plan of redemption in the world.